What's going on, guys? Night Rainbow here with another reaction video. And I'm going to be taking a look at the fifth and final part of Phoenix Wright Turnabout Storm. It's over 2 hours long, so what I'm going to be doing is splitting this into two 1-hour parts. And I'll try to upload them, if not on the same day, do the second part the day after I upload the first part. But I'm going to just go ahead and get it started so we get through this a little bit faster. So I'll start in 3, 2, 1, start. Okay, so now we're getting Sonata.
The court is now back in session. Miss Trixie, were you able to gather this manager?
Yes, she is prepared. If you truly want this.
I'd like to hear how she found this peculiar stick.
She had to have been in the forest. And that means she may have done it. But Trixie's right. She isn't a Pegasus. There's no way she could have manipulated that cloud. Expect for the worst, hope for the best.
Ooh!
Did he just... he sees the resemblance
Have
too.
we met before?
Uh-huh.
You look strangely familiar.
Name and occupation.
You're really going to attempt to pin this on me, right? As you know, I've been watching the whole time, and I'm not impressed.
Don't ignore Trixie. State your name and occupation for the record.
Please be quiet. The grown-ups are speaking. You have no right sticking your nose in the law.
Dang.
What?
Even to me, it's a mystery how you managed to put yourself on that bench.
Oh, I like her.
How dare you?
It must really hurt that vanity of yours. Looking in the mirror every morning. Seeing nothing but a
Wow.
washed-up charlatan with revenge as your only form of closure. It's kind of pathetic when you think about it.
You!
Does this pony have something against
Wow.
Trixie, Phoenix?
Short answer, yes.
You see, I know everything there is to know about you, Trixie.
So what? That's actually kind of a flattering statement.
Oh, really now? Let's talk about poor little Trixie. Let's talk
Wow, the
about
judge
how
is gonna
great
allow
and
this?
powerful you really are. Let's talk about what you really desire. Because unlike everyone else, I know.
How did you...
I know what drives the real Trixie to do what she does. It has nothing to do with her last visit, as she's led many of you to believe. That was just the icing on the cake.
Is she flat out blackmailing her
The
right on
Trixie we
stage?
see right now is nothing but a helpless phony taking on this egotistical persona to cover up her pitiful insecurities. Her real talent should be pretending. Smoke and mirrors, that's all she is. And I'm not talking about her little magic show. As I said before, it's really pathetic.
Damn.
Oh? Have you finally run out of arrogant lies?
Enough! Witness, state your name and occupation for the record.
Sonata, former manager of the late Ace Swift. Now where was I? Oh yes, right. You were accusing me of being in that forest based off a vague testimony given by a vague witness. That witness says she saw me by
Man,
the forest.
she's...
I say I was in my hotel room all night. Now that brings me to you, Wright. I believe you broke into my hotel room with that pink pony. I wish to press charges against you both immediately. Here are some detailed photographs of both of their prints all around my room. I'm sure if you compare them, you'll get matching results.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Mr. Wright, is this true?
I'll face the consequences of my actions later.
No. Right now. You broke the law and I want justice.
Just as Trixie stated earlier, it's an unrelated crime, just like Mr. Cruise Control's assault on me. and it shouldn't be brought up in the current case at hand.
Mr. Wright, I'm shocked you would do something like this.
But I didn't want to do it!
I can't simply let actions like this go unpunished. What's the prosecution's stance on this matter?
God, she's speechless. Wow.
Well, I suppose if there are no objections, Phoenix Wright and Pinkie Pie can face their charges in due time.
Ha! Score one for the good guys.
Whatever. See if I care. This outlandish accusation of yours is just going to fall flat on its face anyway.
Sonata, Fluttershy gave a perfect description of you carrying the stick near the forest on the night of the murder.
I'll say it again. I wasn't anywhere near the forest that night.
I've got to tie her into this somehow. Your Honor, I'd like to hear what Sonata was doing that night in further detail.
Now that I've seen Miss Sonata's appearance, the previous witness's description does seem to match up. Miss Sonata, please testify as to what you were doing the night of the murder.
If I must.
Man, that opening part just let me
I was
speechless to
settling
this.
in my
Oh my
hotel
god.
room after picking up some equipment for Ace. He wasn't at the hotel, so I figured he was practicing for the race. I went to bed and was woken up at 12 a.m. by the police knocking at my hotel room door. The police had informed me of Ace's fate. That witness must be mistaken. I wasn't anywhere near the forest that night. And I certainly wasn't carrying that golf club you keep waving around.
Oh, so you were in your hotel room while the murder occurred?
How does she know it's a golf
That
club?
is correct, Your Honor. That witness must have been seeing things because I didn't go anywhere near the Everfree Forest.
She's lying.
I hate to change the subject, but look at Trixie.
Seems Sonata really got to her.
I actually feel bad
I
for
feel
her.
kind of bad for her.
Yeah, really.
Well, no matter. I have to focus on breaking this testimony.
I was settling in my hotel room after picking up some equipment for Ace.
Hold it! What kind of equipment?
Athletic equipment, knee pads, helmets, stuff like that. He played all kinds of sports.
Speaking of equipment, any clue as to why he was wearing the lightning-proof suit that night?
He wore it all the time with a race coming up. The outfit is quite uncomfortable from what I'm told, and he practiced wearing it before the race to get used to the discomfort.
Do you have anyone to confirm you were shopping that day?
No, I don't.
Then this alibi of yours isn't looking too reliable at all.
How would you wish me to prove it? The store is quite busy with the race coming up. I doubt they'd remember one customer from a few days ago.
What about a receipt? You said you bought some items there. Without one, you could have been...
I have it right here.
Ah!
You didn't think I'd come unprepared, did you?
It says her items were rung in at 7:30 p.m.
This proves she was shopping a little before the murder. There's still a big enough time frame to put her in the forest.
He wasn't at the hotel, so I figured he was practicing for the race. I went to bed and was woken up at 12 a.m. by the police knocking at my hotel room door.
Hold it! Weren't you concerned where he was?
I was his manager, not his babysitter.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't make an effort finding him, especially with his big race coming up soon.
If you haven't noticed, I can't fly. There would be no point wasting my time searching for him when I can only search on land.
Guess it would be a little hard to find someone who could fly while you're grounded. And what time did you go to sleep?
8:30.
And that's around the time he was killed. If she really was in the forest that night, she has to be lying here.
The police had informed me of Ace's fate.
Hold it! How did you react to his death?
I cried.
You... cried?
Yes, it's a complex secretomotor phenomenon characterized by the shedding of tears from the lacrimal apparatus without any irritation of the ocular structures.
I know what crying is. I just can't see
Twilight.
her crying.
Like I said to you earlier, I got over it quickly. Those police who came to my door can confirm this as well.
I've got to ask them if her tears were made out of icicles.
That witness must be mistaken. I wasn't anywhere near the forest that night.
Hold it! The witness is not mistaken.
Mr. Wright, this same witness had a problem with her testimony yesterday. What makes you think she is not wrong this time?
Because she identified you perfectly under Luna's light. I doubt with her secluded lifestyle she's ever seen you before that point.
Ace was famous. She could have read a newspaper like Equestria Daily. I've had my picture published in there several times. Who knows? Maybe she's just describing me to shift the blame off her friend.
You really think Fluttershy's one to lie?
Why not? Didn't you accuse her of perjury just yesterday, right? Since the prosecution doesn't seem to be up to speed, can you please put a stop to Mr. Wright's baseless claims against me, Your Honor?
God, she is so
Yes,
out of it.
I must stop this line of questioning about the previous witness's credibility.
It's alright. I just wanted a little more information. Time to go in for the coup de grace.
And I certainly wasn't carrying that golf club you keep waving around.
Objection! Sonata, I'm very curious.
About what?
This stick. You claim you weren't carrying it.
And I'll say again, I wasn't.
But what I find odd here is what you called it in your testimony.
Yeah, really.
I certainly wasn't carrying that golf club you keep waving around. Sonata, this stick looks nothing like a golf club, nor has anyone referred it to one during the duration of the trial. It was a golf club at one time. You're correct about that.
This thing is a golf club? Oh, my apologies, but I really don't see it.
No one does.
That's because the end was broken off, Your Honor. I have reason to believe this strange metal object I found on the scene of the crime is the missing piece.
It does resemble a golf club if that piece were to be put on the end of the stick.
But right now, it's nothing but a dilapidated stick. Tell us, Sonata, how did you know this was a golf club?
What?
Do you think you're some sort of knight in shining armor, come to save the day?
No, what are you about to do?
Because you're not. You're just another bottom-feeding defense attorney pointing out trivial details.
Mr. Wright has pointed out a crucial flaw. How did you know this mangled stick was a golf club?
Defense attorneys fabricate the most interesting little fairy tales to protect criminals.
You know, something's wrong when a talking unicorn accuses you of telling fairy tales.
Miss Sonata, please answer the question.
I was mistaken. I have seen this stick before, as a golf club. Remember I said I was shopping for sports equipment that day? I saw a golf club at the store with the same unique handle shape, namely that P on the end of it, like the one you're holding.
You saw it at the store?
Yes. Like I said, he's just admirably trying to defend a murderer. Oh, did I say admirably? I meant shamefully.
I just got the strangest sense of deja vu.
What do you mean?
Her phony baloney excuse reminded me of another case.
You can prove she didn't see the golf club at the store?
Yeah, just watch me.
Oh, I'm interested.
Your Honor, she could not have seen this golf club at the store.
Really?
Yes, and I have proof.
Do go on, Mr. Wright.
You see, Sonata couldn't have seen this golf club because it's one of a kind.
Huh?
Let me introduce the court to the Pinky Iron Mark V, the very first innovation patented by a one Pickamina Diane Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. That was Pinky's golf club.
I see. Wait a minute. If it's her first invention, what happened to Mark 1 through 4?
Never mind that. The point is, it's impossible for Sonata to have seen this club in the store, because it was crafted by Pinkie Pie and lost in the forest when she tried giving it a test run. Not only does this prove Sonata here couldn't have seen the club at the store, but also, the only time she could have seen it whole was in the forest after Pinkie lost it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
May I also remind you, Sonata, she lost it in the forest a week ago, while you only arrived in Ponyville 3 days ago. The only place you could have seen it whole was the Everfree Forest.
Yeah, she's pissed.
Miss Sonata, explain this!
I finally broke her. Let's see how she talks her way out of this
Oh,
one.
she's going to. Yep.
Actually, I don't need to say anything.
I'm afraid you do. The defense has proven that you've seen this golf club while it was still one piece.
But do you remember why I was dragged in here? All because of that other witness. Let's not beat around the bush, shall we? It's obvious you're trying to say I was in the forest that night. Right? Right? Then tell me, why didn't Fluttershy see me leave? She said she saw me walking towards Ponyville, but testified yesterday she saw nothing leave the forest at all.
There has to be some explanation.
You're trying to plant me in that forest based on her testimony. Therefore, you need an explanation as to why she didn't see me leave.
The broken golf club should be enough proof. Gilda confirmed it.
Okay, I'll humor you. Let's assume I was near the forest. Not in it, just near it. Since we are to disregard Fluttershy's testimony as she didn't see me leave, who is to say Rainbow Dash or Gilda didn't carry the golf club and I found it there? I don't believe picking up a stick is a crime.
Well, she does bring up some valid points, right? I can't allow you to continue accusing her if you cannot provide stronger evidence she was inside that forest. But your client's verdict has been handed down, and unless you're willing to provide a substantial amount of evidence against this manager to convince me otherwise, I won't hesitate to end the trial right now.
What do I do?
Actually, Phoenix, I think I know how she did it.
Really?
But I could be wrong.
How?
It's highly unlikely, but Sonata could have teleported.
Teleported?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's...
But like I said, it's very unlikely. It's a very advanced unicorn spell. Not many unicorns even know how to do it. Unicorns like Trixie and I can perform it without as many repercussions since our cutie marks specialize in magic.
I actually think she does know it.
You think this witness knows how to teleport, Mr. Wright?
These pictures of a book I found in her hotel room.
Hey, you can't confirm that book belongs to me!
Would you like to go through the arduous process we went through yesterday to prove it does?
I was gonna say,
Knowing what it will reveal,
thought you already
I
did
have a
prove it.
feeling you don't.
Does that book belong to you, witness?
Yes, it does.
What are you doing? Why don't you tell every pony about her blackmailing?
Because she obviously doesn't want it revealed. I can use it to make her sing like a canary. Guess you should have thought about that before trying to get me arrested.
Force her to tell the truth about the smaller details, and eventually they'll start piling up on her. Good thinking, Phoenix.
It's no good to us anyway until we get her in the forest. Her blackmailing won't really help us on why Ace was killed.
Right, Miss Sparkle, can you please stop whispering over there and tell us about this book?
Sorry, Your Honor. This is an advanced spellbook. If we can find a teleportation spell inside, it proves Sonata could have escaped the forest without using the entrance.
But these pages, Mr. Wright, I can't make a lick of sense out of them. I'm not familiar with these characters.
We have a magically adept unicorn with an astute mind for the subject right here to confirm if there's a teleportation spell in this book. Twilight Sparkle.
Miss Sparkle, can you please confirm if there is a teleportation spell in this book as Mr. Wright claims?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
Objection!
Was that Sonata?
No, you don't! Her decoding what it says would be biased.
Hey! I won't lie!
Sorry, but this court can't take that chance. You being friends with the defense completely ruins your credibility.
Any other suggestions?
We could get a professor from Canterlot's Magic Academy to confirm it, if I can't. It shouldn't take long once I find the spell. I'll just have Spike send a copy of the inscription from the book to the Academy.
Very well. I'll grant a short recess for the defense to analyze this book in the photograph and give time for Miss Sparkle to gather her findings.
Man, this is interesting.
The spell Twilight Sparkle located in the book was indeed the relocation spell. It was also verified by the head professor in Canterlot's main magic academy.
So there is the possibility she may have teleported from the forest.
So what? The spell is in my book, but you can't prove I actually know this spell. I don't know how to execute it.
You're saying you don't know how to teleport?
If I owned a book on quantum physics, would that mean I had a master's degree in quantum physics?
Good point.
Hey, I actually own a great, insightful book on quantum physics, and I don't mean to brag, but I know a lot about quantum physics, and I study it regularly. You never know when you might need quantum physics to get you out of a jam.
Twilight.
It's a really fascinating subject, and I take great pride and passion in... Sorry.
Many unicorns like me have a hard time executing that rare spell. A good percentage just don't have it in them to do it. It's even more difficult for one such as myself, as my talent isn't magic like the defense's co-counsel and the prosecution. And besides that, even if I was able to teleport... Riddle me this, Wright. If you're claiming I teleported, why would I not teleport back to my hotel room?
Because you don't have vision on it.
If you're accusing me of secretly being in the forest,
Well, no, I guess you
why
don't
would
need
I
vision.
compromise
Never mind.
everything by teleporting near Fluttershy's abode, leaving myself exposed and vulnerable, not being able to use magic?
You do what now?
Since you seem a great deal ignorant to this, perhaps your co-counsel would like to explain this spell in a little more detail, as she seems to be an expert on it.
Okay, it works like this.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Huh?
When performing a teleportation spell, you need 3 things. A mental image of your destination, stalwart concentration, and natural magic talent.
This is really
A
cool.
less talented unicorn could learn the teleportation spell and perform it well enough to make one big jump from deep inside the forest to almost anywhere in Ponyville, but their magic would be completely diminished afterwards.
So what you're saying is, if you were guilty of being in the forest that night and didn't want to be caught...
Why would I teleport right in front of Fluttershy's house, out in the open, so she could potentially catch me, and not to my hotel room? Do I look that stupid?
I hate to say it, but she's right. If she really did teleport, why would she make her destination out in the open?
The limits on teleportation are you can only jump to places you've seen with your own eyes. It doesn't make any sense she'd teleport to somewhere she'd get caught.
And we know Sonata must have been in that hotel room beforehand. She was Ace's manager. There's got to be some explanation for this.
Seeing as you do not have any proof as to why Fluttershy didn't see me leave the forest, may I please go now? I've had enough of this 3-ring circus you call a trial.
What? Whoa. Come on, Trixie.
Miss Trixie, may I ask what is so
Come
funny?
on. Do
I
it.
thought I shut you up earlier.
Oh, it's just that Trixie knows of a reason why this witness didn't teleport all the way back to her hotel room.
You do? Why are you...
Why are you helping the defense?
You need to be taught some manners, you impudent hussy.
Yeah.
No pony, and I mean no pony, disrespects the great and powerful Trixie.
This is exactly why she shouldn't be prosecuting.
Looks like the Trixie we all know and love is back.
But why is she helping us?
I don't think she's doing it to help us, more so to defend her pride. Either way, I'm not complaining. Let's just see where this goes.
Miss Trixie, you have an idea as to why the witness here didn't teleport all the way back to the hotel?
Trixie certainly does, Your Honor. During Trixie's extravagant magic show, the grand finale involves teleportation. Trixie would use her magnificent, unrivaled powers to teleport behind the audience, letting off a display of fireworks and other grand visuals to put the crowd in a state of sheer awe.
Well, aren't you special?
Since the advent of a lavender loser, Trixie has received some tough crowds. Yeah, Trixie's talking about you, Twilight Snarkle. You and your stupid bangs.
Okay.
Twilight Snarkle?
I know, it's the worst insult I've ever heard. And what's worse is she keeps attacking my bangs. What's wrong with my bangs? They match my tail.
I don't know. I actually thought your fringe looked kind of cute.
Everyone does.
Trixie has had tomatoes and an assortment of other fruit and vegetables tossed at her during her show.
Oh, of course.
Huh?
I know where Trixie is going with this.
Care to enlighten me?
Just listen.
During one of her shows, Trixie was preparing for her teleportation finale when a wretched apple hit Trixie and interrupted her.
Then what happened?
Trixie ended up in the middle of the crowd instead of behind them.
Also,
What?
something interrupted
How does
her.
that work?
When a unicorn loses focus of a teleportation spell while channeling magic, as Dorky Bangs mentioned, results will be random. You'll end up anywhere between point A and B. Trixie isn't saying that sad excuse of a unicorn on the stand bumbled it up, though. Just that it's a possible explanation for why she ended up where she did.
I don't believe this. You're doing everything wrong!
Speaking of wrong,
Oh
the
boy.
ball is in your court now. Whether that's what happened or not is for you to prove.
I'm still a little shocked Trixie just did that.
It was awesome though.
Me too. But it's useless unless we can prove something interrupted Sonata while she prepared to teleport.
How can we prove something like that? I've been looking through our evidence and I don't see a thing.
Actually, I think I got it. Your Honor, I think I know what could have startled Sonata.
And what is that, Mr.
lightning?
Wright?
The answer is obvious. It was the lightning bolt.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. That sound would have startled anyone, especially if they were in a dark, spooky forest at the time.
Exactly.
You sure you want to suggest that, Mr. Wrong? The first lightning bolt struck at 8:40, meaning Sonata would have a perfect alibi. She would have been preparing to leave the forest before any of the lightning struck. That is, if you're really trying to pin this on her.
What about the second one?
We've been through this, Trite. 3 witnesses testified to not hearing it. We can still see, without a doubt, that lightning bolt did not make a sound that night. But if you would like to suggest that the first lightning bolt startled her, Trixie's all fine and dandy with that.
It seems Sonata has a tighter alibi than before.
That can't be! Just look at her! She's sweating bullets right now!
Is
If
she?
you had a Neanderthal with a goofy haircut and an evil purple-shaded nerd lobbing false accusations at you, would you be sitting there with a happy smile on your face?
She has a point, right?
This is such a glorious day for Trixie. Trixie has finally exacted her revenge on Twilight Snarkle, had a dangerous criminal banished, and put the stupid four-eyed bimbo in her place. Can you say hat trick? It's a good thing Trixie had confirmation of that first bolt. Otherwise, all this wouldn't have been possible.
Oh, what? Did you just screw up?
I got it! I know what startled Sonata here. Not only that, but I can clear up another mystery too.
Please do go on, Mr. Wright.
Let's think back to yesterday. We had a certain little witness confirm the time of the first bolt for us.
Oh, you mean that cute filly?
Yes, Your Honor. Apple Bloom. Apple Bloom was lost in the forest for quite some time, when all of a sudden, she bumped into something.
Sonata?
We've already concluded that was irrelevant information, though.
Not exactly. Because I think the thing Apple Bloom bumped into is right there on the stand.
Ugh.
Let's bring ourselves back to that night. Apple Bloom was lost in the forest and bumped into something she couldn't see, making it jump from what she described. Suddenly she sees a large flash of light she thought was lightning, but was actually the teleportation spell.
Yep.
Uh-oh, looks like he found you out.
Sonata was preparing to teleport to the hotel room, no doubt. But she was startled by Apple Bloom bashing into her out of nowhere and lost her focus. Apple Bloom ended up being an unintentional stowaway during Sonata's incomplete teleportation spell. The interruption sent them both not to Sonata's room, but right near Fluttershy's cottage. That's why Fluttershy didn't see Apple Bloom leave the forest. Sonata brought her out by teleporting. Drained after using an advanced spell and being next to a blind, disoriented filly, Sonata had no choice but to run eastward with a golf club in her mouth. Apple Bloom, however, walked home to Sweet Apple Acres in the south.
This is ridiculous. You have no proof I did this.
No point in denying it anymore. We all know you were in that forest, Four Eyes. So why don't you be a good little pony and come clean? All we need is possibility. Unless you care to explain where you've seen that golf club before?
I...
This also explains how the filly escaped the forest undetected.
Exactly. This is the best explanation we have.
You're caught, Sonata. Time to face the music. What were you doing in the forest that night?
I refuse to testify. I reserve the right to remain silent in any case where my testimony could lead to self-incrimination.
Oh, please. Perhaps Trixie can once again enlighten every pony. You see, our sophisticated-looking business pony here has a gloomy secret. Trixie's brilliant mind was able to find this out yesterday, after the conclusion of the analysis of that filthy griffin feather.
This has to do with why she was in the forest?
Yes, it does.
I like this so
Little
much.
Miss Sonata here is a dirty blackmailer.
She pulls it out.
No!
Wow.
What? Wait, you knew about that?
Of course Trixie knew. Why do you ask, Mr. Wrong?
I was kind of saving that information for my ace in the hole.
Too late, Trixie beat you to it. Trixie knew those pictures of rainbow trash had something to do with this. So Trixie simply asked the local developers for a record of their clients.
Why didn't I think of that?
And they told Trixie it was you, Four Eyes. Trixie simply connected the dots to why this manager of an undefeated athlete would develop pictures like those. She and the victim were in cahoots with each other, blackmailing rainbow trash and probably many more throughout the late Mr. Swift's career.
Might I ask, if the prosecution and defense knew about this, well, why didn't they bring it up sooner?
Trixie could have spoken for Mr. Wrong, but she didn't because the situation didn't call for it. Trixie didn't believe there was a way this witness could have been in the forest, but we seem to have proven otherwise.
And I couldn't because, she was blackmailing me.
You let her blackmail you? Wow, you really are a loser.
Miss Sonata, were you blackmailing the defense's client?
No, I wasn't. I would never do anything like that.
These papers say otherwise. I found all these in Sonata's hotel room, and this particular letter, blackmailing my client, matches Sonata's writing.
There you have it. Trixie has used her brilliance to triumph over a snide liar.
Miss Sonata!
I love that they're
you
teaming
should
up
be
against her.
ashamed of yourself.
What are you doing? Whoa, okay.
Taking advantage of others like that? You're despicable.
Spare me. You've finally proven I was in the forest, and that I was blackmailing your client. But that hardly makes me a murderer.
We'll see about that. Let's hear what you were doing in the forest that night.
There's no escaping either. You've already cast too much suspicion over yourself to just waltz out of here. Oh, and Mr. Wrong.
What?
Let Trixie make one thing crystal clear. Trixie still knows for a fact Rainbow Trash is the true culprit of this crime.
Then why did you...
Because Trixie needs the correct facts before she can properly prosecute that rainbow loser. In fact, this whole blackmail revelation sets that motive you so desperately wanted before. Rainbow Trash killed him because the cheater and his bimbo manager were blackmailing her.
Gee, here I thought she was just being nice.
Nah, it was so cool
I
though.
wasn't planning on leaving anyway. I'll tell you why I was in there that night, and show you why it still doesn't matter. Don't sit there so comfortably, Wright. This is far from over.
I know, we still have like
And Trixie?
2 hours left.
I dislike you. Just thought I'd reiterate that in case it wasn't clear enough.
Oh, thank you. Trixie gets that a lot.
That wasn't a compliment, Trixie.
She's gonna take it as one though. Who cares?
No point in hiding it. Ace and I were blackmailing Rainbow Dash. We ordered her to meet in the Everfree Forest. I got there long before Ace, and I hid in some foliage near the meeting place. Rainbow Dash showed up and made negotiations with Ace. She declined and flew up high, hitting a storm cloud she put there in foresight. I watched as a lightning bolt hit Ace directly on one of the exposed parts on his suit. It sent him flying a few feet, as the prosecution stated. I got out of the forest as fast as I could. That is all that happened. This changes nothing.
Yeah, but why would you pick up the golf club?
This still doesn't explain why you took the golf club.
I still deny touching that. I only saw it on the crime scene.
You aren't too smart, are you? You were the last pony in there, and it was found outside the forest.
Not to mention you're the only suspect. There's no way Fluttershy could have seen the handle before that point, other than when she saw you walking with it.
Then maybe she's the one who took it out. You said your pink accomplice lost the accursed thing in that forest a week ago. Therefore, Fluttershy could have witnessed her lose it. The forest is near her cottage, after all. Though she saw me going towards town, there is a large time frame where she was alone. You have no way to tie me to that golf club other than what she claims she saw. I was simply in the forest to oversee our deal with Rainbow Dash, who I then witnessed kill Ace.
Who does she think she's fooling?
Phoenix? I don't mean to interrupt you, but
But what?
there's something that rubs me the wrong way about the testimony she gave.
Huh? There is? What is it?
Call it intuition. I think it has something to do with what I found yesterday.
I better look through the evidence Twilight gave me.
No point in hiding it. Ace and I were blackmailing Rainbow Dash. We ordered her to meet in the Everfree Forest.
Hold it! Why would you want to meet in the forest? Surely you know how dangerous it is in there.
Ace and I personally liked making these deals in secluded locations. We couldn't risk flies on the wall listening in.
And this is how you had your victims cooperate. You were able to find their weaknesses using that talent of yours. It's probably why he was really wearing that lightning-proof suit. Not to prepare for the race, but to attempt to conceal his identity from Rainbow Dash in the dark forest, as you just naturally blended in with your dark colors.
That's correct. It's worked up to this point. Well, besides two individuals who went against my terms. One being the defendant, the other... I'm sure you know who that is, right? Don't you? But both of them are going to get their just desserts soon enough.
Objection! As much as Trixie would love to see you both arrested, we honestly don't care how you cheat and manipulate. Let's get back to what you saw in the forest, Four Eyes.
Cheat and manipulate. Do you really think you have the right to judge me? What do you say we all talk about you and your pitifully weak vendetta against the defense's co-counsel over there? That's right, Twilight. It stems past the humiliation she suffered from you. Isn't that right, Trixie?
Don't even bother trying to pull that one again, lady. Trixie was a fool to let some blackmailing hussy get to her the first time. Even if Trixie has to get you off the hook for Mr. Wrong's murder accusation, you're still getting locked up for your other crimes. Trixie hopes you enjoy stale bread, because that's all you're going to be eating for a long time.
Oh, I really like her now.
Miss Sonata, please continue your testimony.
What are they talking about?
I'll tell you later. You've got to focus on winning here.
I got there long before Ace, and I hid in some foliage near the meeting place. Rainbow Dash showed up and made negotiations with Ace.
Hold it! And what were these negotiations?
For her to drop out of the race.
Why didn't you just have her lose? Why have her drop out completely?
Several reasons. Because of her performance at another event, it's clear she's the better athlete in every way, shape, and form. But the main reason was because of her arrogance and pride. If she were to participate in that race, there was a chance her competitive nature would kick in, and she would throw away all bets and try to win, even at the price of those pictures being exposed.
I've only known her for a day and a half, and that really sounds like something Rainbow Dash would do.
Yeah.
She declined and flew up high, hitting a storm cloud she put there in foresight. I watched as a lightning bolt hit Ace directly on one of the exposed parts on his suit. It sent him flying a few feet, as the prosecution stated.
Hold it! I'd like to ask you what you witnessed here, Sonata. Unlike Gilda, you actually saw this, correct?
Every solitary detail, yes.
How were you able to see all this? I'm sure Rainbow Dash would have seen you if you were illuminating the area with your horn.
That's because I didn't. The lightning itself lit up the area after she set it off. In that split second, I was able to see everything that had happened.
Would you care to share these details?
After the negotiations went sour, Rainbow flew up and hit that cloud. As you know, there are some exposed parts on that racing suit. I saw Ace look up, bewildered at what she was doing, and the bolt hit him directly on his neck. As Gilda claimed the prosecution theorized, the lightning's impact hurtled his body a few feet.
His neck, huh?
I just thought
I
something.
got out of the forest
Didn't
as
she write a
fast as
letter
I
to him
could.
saying that she was
is all
quitting?
that happened.
So why was she
This
still there?
changes nothing.
Objection! Looks like you saw things wrong here, Sonata. Or maybe you're just lying.
What are you talking about?
Something else should have happened there.
Something else?
Detailed right here in this autopsy report, there was a burn mark on the back of the victim's neck. Sonata, if you watch these events transpire, how did he come to acquire this scar?
I left the forest right away. How should I know?
I don't think so. You didn't leave the forest right away.
How would you know that?
Do you remember what time Applebloom got out?
9
9 o'clock. Cursity of Sonata. Seeing as the lightning bolt hit 8:40, and it's only a 15-minute walk to the entrance, that leaves a long time frame where you were still inside the forest. In fact, it's even larger considering you admitted to teleporting out. So I'll ask again, where did he get that scar?
Objection! She did explain where he got it. The lightning itself must have struck in his exposed neck.
Objection! Not according to another detail Sonata shared. She stated, I saw Ace look up, bewildered at what she was doing, and the bolt hit him directly on the neck.
You're right! It would have left a mark on the front of his neck if he was looking up.
Care to explain this, Four Eyes?
That mark isn't from the lightning bolt. That mark was from the day before the incident. Ace was in a dangerous race inside a Freet's volcano and must have picked up the nasty scar from some embers.
Well, that could explain it. His schedule confirms that he was indeed racing in that volcano the day before he came into Ponyville. It would have still been fresh. This is just stupid. Of all places you could race, why would any pony with a sane mind feel the need to race in a volcano?
High risk, high reward. The prize was a treasure known as the Flame Dragon Ruby.
And I bet you two won that through cheating, huh?
We did. Problem?
Shut up, wrong. She gave you a good explanation for the burn.
Do you have a doctor's note to confirm this injury?
He didn't like doctors, so it doesn't really come as a surprise that he didn't want to get it checked out.
So you're saying he had this burn mark on his neck before he even arrived in Ponyville?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. Wright is doing what defense attorneys do best, trying to make something out of irrelevant details.
Wait!
Huh?
What?
There is something wrong here. He couldn't have had that burn mark before the incident.
Twilight, I'm supposed to be the lawyer here.
Stick to the books, Snarkle. He got that scar from his race in the volcano.
No, he didn't. And I have proof.
Twilight, you really shouldn't...
A pony named Cruise Control gave this to me yesterday.
And what about it?
It's a picture of the victim entering the forest. With the timestamp on it, it shows it was taken 20 minutes before the crime even took place.
What are you trying to prove here, Snarkle? Every pony knows when he entered the forest.
He didn't have it?
I'm not
The
trying to
burn
prove he
mark?
went in there. Look closer and you'll see exactly what I'm trying to prove.
He doesn't have the mark, does he?
You see it, don't you? There's no burn mark on the back of his neck.
Uh-huh.
Oh my! She's right!
This proves he acquired that scar while he was in the forest. Oh my gosh, did every pony see that? That felt so exhilarating. This is so exciting! I found a flaw in her testimony! Do you all think I sounded professional enough? Oh, I'm going to tell the princess about this!
Twilight, relax!
Sorry, I got a little carried away.
Maybe a little.
That was cute.
But thank you anyway. Let me take the reins from here. Sonata, as my co-counsel has pointed out, he couldn't have acquired that scar prior to entering the forest.
It was from the golf club.
The golf club?
I'd like to hear how this golf club resulted in a burn mark.
When Rainbow Dash set the cloud off, the bolt was large enough to hit Ace as well as the ground. The bolt had started a fire, and it was my burden to put it out. He fell to the ground, neck landing on the golf club and breaking it. That's how the burn mark got there. I moved the body and stick aside and put out the fire myself. I ran away from the crime scene after experiencing such an incident, but returned later when I realized I forgot to take the golf club.
You did it. Because you said you were willing to quit because you were tired of it.
So you really did take the golf club?
Yes, I did. Problem?
You were just denying earlier you even touched it.
That's because I tampered with the crime scene. That would have me, and is going to have me, put away for quite some time.
Then why admit it now?
Because I'm already going to jail for my victory methods, what's a little longer to clear this outlandish murder accusation you're trying to put on me?
But why would you carry this golf club out?
Because I touched it when I moved it aside. I wanted to remove all evidence I was there.
Okay, focus, Phoenix. She's constantly revising the story. She has to run out of excuses sooner or later.
When Rainbow Dash set the cloud off, the bolt was large enough to hit Ace as well as the ground.
How big was this fire?
Quite large. You were at the clearing, were you not? You'd probably noticed the scarring on the ground. That's how big it was before I put it out.
How did you manage to put it out?
I used Ace's bag to beat it down.
Wait a minute. If you took the golf club because you touched it, why did you leave the bag behind?
It didn't matter. I've touched that bag a million times before. Ace's butler, too. His stylist, and even his mother when she packs his lunches.
His mother still packs his lunch? How old is he?
25.
I'm just gonna pretend she didn't answer that.
The point is, there were tons of indications others have touched it aside from me. And I wanted Rainbow Dash to pay for not only not following our terms, but killing Ace. So I purposely left those pictures behind. The bolt had started a fire, and it was my burden to put it out.
Why did you feel the need to put it out? Being environmentally friendly?
Drawing attention to the scene was my main concern.
I see. If someone were to see that fire, it would attract other opponents, and you would be caught on the crime scene.
Exactly. But it seemed that it didn't matter any longer. He fell to the ground, neck landing on the golf club and grazing it. That's how the burn mark got there.
He fell on the club?
I heard it snap as he landed on top of it. So I guess so.
And that's how the burn got there.
I hurried to the flaming area and tried to put out the fire. His body was in the way, so I moved him and the stick out of the flames. The fire must have heated up the metal in the stick, broke, and left that burn mark on his neck.
That would mean the body wasn't hurtled by the lightning. Sonata was the one who moved both him and the stick to the dirt patch where Gilda discovered him.
I moved the body and stick aside and put out the fire myself.
Objection! Sonata, what you just said doesn't line up.
Why not?
You said the golf club was laying in the fire, but just look at it. It smoldered and burnt beyond any recognition. If Ace was really laying in the fire for as long as the golf club, the exposed parts on the suit should be all burned, not just a small one from the stick. Flesh burns faster than metal. Even the suit itself would have taken damage from those flames.
Oh my! You are correct, Mr. Wright!
Your explanation doesn't make any sense, Sonata.
I like just seeing Derpy on the right.
Stop trying to turn anthills into mountains.
This is no anthill. A lot of things don't line up with these events if we take this into consideration. The victim could not have been laying in that fire. His burn should be as severe as the likes of the golf club. But all we have is one burn mark on the back of his neck. So this can only mean one thing. The victim was alive after the first bolt came down.
Objection! This is stupid. The first bolt is the only one that could have killed him.
Objection! That's where you're wrong. I believe I know what happened based on a piece of evidence.
Evidence?
The letter?
I think there was a struggle of some kind.
Again, this is the most foolish foolery of your foolish fool brain in that foolish spiky cranium of yours. How could he have had a struggle with lightning?
I think this lightning has been one big red herring all along.
On what basis do you suggest the victim had the struggle, Mr. Wright?
Let's review what we know. The burn mark on the back of his neck. The golf club is really the only thing that could have done it. I have no doubt it was laying in that fire for quite some time, which in turn heated the metal. Next, the golf club itself. It was to be assumed it broke when he fell on top of it. But the body should have been just as burned as the golf club if you were laying in that fire to render it to what it is now. There's no way the body could be like it is if it were really hit by the first bolt. We find ourselves back at this question. How did the golf club burn him?
Explain.
The only answer I can draw is someone hit him with it. And I think we all know who that someone is.
Are you suggesting she hit him?
That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
You just keep getting dumber and dumber, you know that?
Then perhaps you can explain where he got the burn mark. Remember, he had to have received it while he was alive in the forest based on this picture.
Couldn't the defendant have used the stick to hit him? I just can't see why his manager would assault him like this.
He's right. Rainbow Trash could have easily hit him. They had those pictures of her after all.
The letter.
Really sad when you have to get bailed out by the judge. Rainbow could not have done that. She was long gone after the lightning came down.
Yeah, according to Gilda. But do you remember she gave up chase to look for her package?
That's true, Rainbow could have gone back while Gilda was looking for her package. But I'm not talking about that. Sonata here was the only one who could have used that golf club to hit him. And you of all ponies should know why, Trixie.
What do you mean?
But how could she be the only one?
Very simple, Your Honor.
The Filly's Guide to Ponies? Is that a children's book?
Yes, it is.
I, gave that to you to read, not to, present as, evidence.
Trixie read that one while she was still learning to speak. How dare you bring such a childish item in and make a mockery of this court?
Coming from Miss Wizard Hat and Wizard Cloak.
Hold on a sec. I'm just using this as a visual aid to make my point.
This better be good.
Well,
This book is pretty small. It details the different types of ponies in Equestria. Right here on page 1, unicorns use magic. And we see an illustration of a cute little unicorn playing with toys, using her horn to move them. Do you see what I'm getting at here? If that club was hot enough to burn his neck, any physical contact with it would have burned whomever picked it up. So that completely rules out Rainbow Dash and Gilda. And even if they did pick up the stick while it was cooled down, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't be hot anymore, thus not being able to leave that mark.
No!
That would be the case if you were anyone. Or, any pony but a unicorn. Sonata is the only one who could have used it as a weapon. For the simple fact she could have picked it up without touching it using a levitation spell. Don't even bother saying you don't know that spell either, Sonata. It's one of the simplest of unicorn spells. I've even seen you doing it picking up that notepad of yours. That leaves 2 questions, Sonata. Why would you hit your longtime business partner? And how did he die of electrocution? To tell the truth, I don't have an answer for the latter. But I may have the one to why you hit him.
The letter.
But this is wrong. She couldn't have done it. Why would she? She was his assistant.
Weren't you the one who said the motive doesn't matter, Trixie?
You!
But unlike you, I think it does matter. And I'll gladly explain what I think her motive for striking him with the golf club was. Tell me, Sonata, the reason you hit him was this, wasn't it? You were planning on backing out of your dubious blackmailing deeds, weren't you? As it says in your letter of resignation here. You probably showed this to Ace right after your deal with Rainbow went bad. I don't think Ace was too happy with your decision. This letter was torn in half. Half was found by Fluttershy's cottage, most likely blown away by the wind. While the other you must have recovered, as I found it in your hotel room. You couldn't just throw it away. Someone might find it. So you kept it in your room, while the police were busy investigating the crime scene. That's probably why you got so angry when Pinky and I intruded. You were afraid we might have discovered the meaning behind the letter. Also, the reason you didn't have us arrested on the spot. The police might have confiscated my evidence, including the torn letter, and connected it to you.
But what's the motive, Mr. Wright?
Ace probably wasn't too thrilled about his partner in crime giving up the ghost on their business, which is why he tore the letter in half after reading it. He didn't want to give it up, and in turn, didn't want you publicly disclosing what you two were doing. Now, I doubt branding him with a hot stick was enough to kill him, and no doubt he'd be angrier afterwards. There's no way you could prepare teleporting when engaged in an argument like that. So what happened after, Sonata? There's no way you can't know. The first and second lightning bolt could not have killed him based on the evidence we have. So what killed him, Sonata? There's nobody left to blame for his death but yourself. Rainbow Dash being long gone after the first bolt came down. Gilda searching for her package. And Apple Bloom lost in the forest, whom later you brought out. You're the only one left who could have done it.
But if you're saying she killed him, how could she have electrocuted him?
Trixie, you must know as well as I do that there are some spells out there capable of electrocution.
And she probably knows
But
it.
artificial electricity isn't strong enough to kill.
Given the situation she was in, being threatened by him, it could have caused a magic surge.
And the fact he was weakened after being hit with a blazing hot blunt object that could have caused head trauma, the jolt could have been enough to stop his heart.
She'd also have the ability to aim it at one of the exposed areas on the suit. Not only from examining the suit, but the magic illuminating the area where she conducted the spell.
You can't just say she did this. If Ace was really threatening her, why would she not just run away? Resorting to violence as a first option is totally illogical.
She couldn't outrun him. He was an athlete. He could have easily caught her without even trying. And I doubt they just talked things over and made up after she hit him by the fact we have a dead body. There's no way the second bolt could have done it when that gun is Trixie uncovered. And even if it wasn't a gun, it would have had to hit him in midair to not make a noise, which is impossible due to the protective suit. There's no way out of it. Sonata must have electrocuted him somehow between the time frame the first bolt came down and when Gilda moved the body.
Miss Sonata, what do you have to say to all this?
It's amazing what one little mistake ended up costing me.
Jeez.
What?
When I first spoke with you, I noticed. Your eyes showed a lot of determination and resourcefulness. That's one of the things I look at first. Eyes alone show what someone is like more than any other part of the body. They really are the window to the soul.
No, it wasn't you. You didn't do it. It was Rainbow Trash.
It's why I wear these glasses. They aren't correctional. They're purely cosmetic. Though they're transparent, I feel like they shield me. I was afraid someone would find out who I am. Find some weakness.
Just like what you were doing.
Exactly.
Stop! You didn't do it.
I suppose my weakness was pity. That's what made me write up that letter you hold in your hands, Wright.
The guilt of what you were doing to those innocent athletes caught up to you, didn't it?
Yes. That night, we arranged for Rainbow Dash to meet us in the forest.
Time for negotiations.
Forget it! I'm not doing it!
Do it or else.
I don't care about that. Besides, I've got a better idea.
What?
Enjoy the parting gift! Smell you later, sucker!
Ace!
I thought you said she would do it, Sonata.
I don't know what went wrong.
Ah! Never mind. Quick, put out that fire.
Use your bag to smother it. I think we got all the flames.
This is just perfect. That little upstart is gonna ruin everything.
She won't tell. There's no way she can afford telling anyone about those pictures.
Then why didn't she cooperate? Do you realize we're sunk if she opens her mouth? It can still work out. I just have to beat her the old-fashioned way. That sonic rainbow thing was probably just over-exaggerated. Right?
Yeah.
What's with you? You've been like that since we got here.
Like what?
All dodgy. And you mope whenever we talk.
There was actually something I wanted to tell you after this whole thing went through.
What is it?
I was going to give you this. But perhaps it's better if I tell you.
Tell me what?
I can't help you do this anymore.
What?
These scandals we're pulling, I think we've gone too far.
Too far? Pfft, it's not like any pony is getting hurt.
No, we're exploiting vulnerabilities and weaknesses of innocent athletes just for our own fame and fortune.
What exactly are you trying to say here, Sonata?
Either you come clean and tell the truth about how you've been winning all this time, or I quit.
Are you joking? You can't quit. I can't do this without you. Then you'll go down with me. If I'm caught, you'll be caught too. You're just as guilty.
I'm sorry. Even if that may be the case, so be it. I can't do this anymore.
No!
Ace, calm down.
We can't go back now!
Ace?
You're not going anywhere, Sonata!
What are you doing?
You met an unfortunate fate in the forest.
What?
A ferocious beast got you and ended your life.
No! Stop! Don't come any closer!
I then fell into a depressed state and couldn't race anymore. No one will notice my performance drop because I was forced to retire because you died. My dear Sonata, I'm so very sorry.
God, he's a complete douchebag. Wow.
Farewell, Sonata.
So really, if anything, she was defending herself.
You're dead.
In a situation like that, you don't really have time to think. I knew I couldn't run. It was hardly even a question. Ace was undeniably faster. And I couldn't teleport. That took too much time and too much concentration. The only thing left to do then was to defend myself. I reached out with my magic and took hold of the nearest object, that disfigured, smoldering remnant of a golf club, and swung it as forcefully as I could. It hit the back of his neck, still hot enough to leave a nasty burn. The club snapped in two, and Ace shrugged the whole thing off like it was nothing. When he looked at me then, that last time, he was angry. I dropped the broken pieces of the smoldering golf club and let them fall to the ground, and resorted to the only thing I had left, directing the full force of my magic power in his direction towards one of the exposed parts of the suit. What I had not taken into account was a magic surge which uncontrollably amplifies magic, and it may have let loose more than I had intended. After that, what frightened me most was not Ace and his uncontrollable anger, or even the fear of death, but that the force around me had grown entirely silent. He was lying on the ground. The spell had hurtled him a few feet. I ran away from the clearing as fast as I could. I couldn't use any spells of any kind, not being able to concentrate after what I had just done. I just ran away in complete darkness. When I realized he wasn't following me, I had to see what had happened. About 10 minutes after the whole ordeal, I cautiously went back to the clearing, and though it was dark, I saw the silhouette of his body lying there, lifeless. It didn't take me long to realize he was dead. Being caught for blackmailing was one thing, but there was no way I wanted to be caught as a murderer. Even if I could argue it was in self-defense, I'd have no clear-cut proof he was going to attack me. I'd be banished. I formulated a plan to take everything on the crime scene and make it look as if Rainbow Dash had done it. I quickly gathered up the golf club I struck him with, and the half of my resignation letter I still had. After I was all done, I went back into the forest, trying to calm down and prepare a teleportation back to my hotel room. But, as you all know now, while I prepared that teleportation, that child bumped into me, and, just as Trixie said, it was enough to corrupt my destination. Both Applebloom and I ended up a little ways from the forest entrance near Fluttershy's cottage. I was completely vulnerable. I couldn't use magic after that jump, so I just grabbed the stick and ran. I took a shortcut through the park. My heart was beating a mile a minute, and I wasn't really watching where I was going. I tripped on the bridge and dropped that stick in the lake.
That's how I got there.
Since I was unable to use magic, I couldn't retrieve it, so I just left it down there. Once I got to my hotel, I tried to convince myself that I didn't do it. That's actually the reason I hadn't reported you earlier, Mr. Wright.
Why?
I knew you were starting to become suspicious of me when you saw some of those items lying around my room. I needed to throw you off my tail. After Wright and his friend left, I plotted to subdue him in that forest myself, but who should I run into but one of our past victims? Instead of taking the evidence back myself as I had planned, I made it so he would take the fall for me and redirect Wright's suspicion even if all the evidence was out. And it was just more serendipity you and the child acted as corroborating witnesses on the scene to Cruz's attack, Twilight, when I was just planning on the pink one to catch him. I told him I'd have his sibling pulled from the hospital if he didn't cooperate.
Just wait a second here. How was he able to phone me?
I don't know what you mean by that. I tried to send you a telepathic message. It's in that spell book you found, page 162. I was hoping due to your ignorance of Equestria you wouldn't question it. I did feel something intercepted the signal, though. But somehow I was still able to talk to you.
That was you? But the voice.
It's not hard to alter your voice when speaking through magic. You don't use your vocal cords for telepathy. I just studied the way Cruise Control enunciated, and contacted you using that voice to articulate myself. Think of it as being able to project a piano melody you once heard vividly in your mind, but not actually knowing how to play the piano.
She must have used that talent of hers to get down his voice so perfectly.
There's no way out of this now. I'm caught, and I guess it's time to pay my dues.
Well, this seems to prove the innocence of the defendant. Miss Trixie, do you have anything to say regarding this confession? Miss Trixie?
Whoa. She's about to blow up. What? That was kind of cool.
Miss Sonata, your plea, whether your actions were in self-defense or not, will be reviewed by Equestria's Council and Supreme Court. You also face several other allegations regarding these blackmailings and tampering with the crime scene. I'm really sorry to say, but taking into account those crimes won't help their decision in your favor.
I understand.
But as of right now, I can retract my earlier verdict and hand down a proper one in the case of Miss Dash.
You did it! You won!
Yeah.
What's the matter?
You know as well as I do that it's not over. You're worried, aren't you? Seek out the truth and everything will work out fine. You'll see.
No, I can't let this happen.
What?
I hereby retract my earlier verdict. The defendant, Rainbow Dash, is found to be acquitted of...
Objection!
Can't I just hand down my verdict in peace?
What are you doing?
Mr. Wright?
No, Your Honor, it's not over yet. There was a contradiction in the confession the witness gave.
What?
The defense believes that Sonata did not murder Ace Swift.
I just admitted it!
What are you doing? You were about to win.
Your Honor, may I please request Sonata convert that confession she just made to testimony?
This is highly unorthodox for a defense attorney to hold the verdict in their favor. But if Miss Sonata is willing to, I can allow it.
I really don't understand what he's trying to pull here. But if it makes him happy, I'll do it.
Mr. Wright, I must warn you. If you believe there is a contradiction in this witness's testimony and manage to prove she's lying, your client client will be seen as guilty once again and will be treated as such immediately afterwards. This will be the final testimony I will grant. With a confession like this from the perpetrator, I see no more reason to prolong this trial.
The defense understands, Your Honor.
What are you up
Phoenix,
to?
what are you doing?
Please, trust me. Everything's gonna be alright.
All right. I trust you.